even if you look to some people like you're being foolish, and even if you look to others that you might be crazy for doing things that don't seem rational, as long as your purpose is true and you're continuing to do it for the right reasons, you will eventually win if tenacity and perseverance continues forward. And when you fail, learn what you failed from and keep going. As the book says, fail forward, right? I say fail up, don't fail out. And I've just learned to not take no for an answer. I guess in all that summary, it comes down to everything for me as a KNOW until it's a hell no. And even then, there's still ways to work it out.
Welcome back to another episode of the We Live to Build podcast. This episode is with Neil Toit, the CEO of Voltage Holdings, which owns interest in different industries like e-commerce, SaaS, and more. In this episode, we talked about what it's like running multiple companies, the AI that he's using to build out these different businesses, and the support he's providing to the companies that he's investing in and acquiring, as well as mentoring and coaching and much more. So the focus is very heavy on e-commerce and AI. So if you're interested in either of those topics, or definitely the combination of the two, then you're going to love this episode. Let's get to it. What is the current state of AI in the e-commerce industry?
Well, it's depending upon whether or not you're using AI to develop an AI business, or like us, if you're using AI to enhance and productivity, to time compress activities that may have taken weeks, to days or hours, or to utilize it in the competition of your product or service in the market. We use it to enhance the competition of our marketing, as well as the products that we market within our brands. So AI has got about 3 different levels we use it at within our business: for the research, the modification and management of marketing, and the distribution of products through marketing channels. So AI has been great at compressing that time, finding that data, and making sure the right people see it at the right time.
I was on LinkedIn earlier today, and someone said, I see so many people wasting so much money launching the wrong product. So I built this thing that, does all of the research and blah, blah, blah in 30 seconds, and just DM me this thing. Like, what do you believe in these kinds of giveaways? Are they realistic for starting founders?
Well, every marketer has an angle, right? So for us, after 12 years of selling physical products and building multi-7, 8-figure brands, I can tell you that there's a need to find the right product to sell in the market. But here's the thing, if you don't understand the data of demand, if you don't understand the market demand, then it doesn't necessarily, follow you with the product you're leading, like so many people think. They think I need to invent a product and I lead the market. That's demand creation. That's 1% of people. The other 99% innovate. So in that way, if you're able to determine the right data for your product and use the AI systems of the internet to help propagate the distribution of that product to the right audience just in time, then yeah, there's truth to that statement. For us, product research is what the hell do I sell, is a huge component of our business model. If we sell the wrong data, then the AI engines that move the internet's data around from Amazon to Google to TikTok to wherever are going to move it in front of the wrong people. The same way an advertising campaign in a direct marketing is going to be wrong if you don't know your audience, you're not speaking to them correctly. Then when the AI systems show your advertising to the wrong people with the wrong message, you're not going to convert them into sales. We have the same problem on the physical product world. So again, yeah, there's truth to that. It's just a matter of understanding the differences in the two components. Many people think we sell products and brands, which is actually the second truth, and they miss the first truth, which is we sell data to an AI engine.
What kind of AI companies are you using, or can people use for that purpose?
So there's a couple of different things. We developed our own AI research tool for us called Cayman Data. But on the other side of that, I use things like ChatGPT to help with product research, but also we created virtual agents inside of our system where we fed it 10 years of information, data, transcripts, our playbook, and other information about our products and current brands. And then we use that to help curate information, research, and even down to policy checking and information to ensure the compliance of the product, the copy itself. And any images and graphics will also be tested by AI to ensure that they match the narrative. So there are we use I like Claude personally in terms of copywriting. It has a natural language query and some syntax to it that feels more humanized in its conversational tonality. So we use that a lot for Claude, particularly. We use Sora for images and image generations, as well as taking and conceptually remixing images to get other ideas or ways to approach both the marketing as well as the product development, as well as images and copy. Sora has been amazing. With that, it's a version of Chat GTP's AI engine for graphics creation, which has been very cool. The marketing team uses HeyGen a lot, which is actually just got in its fourth variation, which is pretty darn cool. They're now syncing up audio to the lips and mannerisms so closely that we're borderline deep fake. I give about 6 months before it's so close to realistic that most people are not going to be able to tell. It's still that close right now that it has that AI feel that people kind of starting to distinguish the longer they look and the more they see. But I'd say we're about 6 months away from the next two releases in which that almost becomes indistinguishable. And product placement and images and stuff can be used with those videos very quickly in many different ways. We use AI to generate product image videos. We can go to, there's one called syllabi.io, and that you can literally give it your product and then point it at Amazon's URL. It pulls down images, graphics, and copy and makes a 30-second video ad with the primary bullets driven out of the image and copy. So you can literally just do push button marketing ads now, which is quite crazy for anything we put into the listings themselves or we push out to any social media accounts.
Wow. A few years ago, when I started an e-commerce brand, there were none of these offers, and I didn't know anything. So I had to do everything myself. And I started, and it's just like, what the hell am I supposed to do? Oh, you got to find this guru. You got to find this agency. This one's going to help you with your marketing. This one's going to help you with your ads. This one's going to help you with your web page design. This one's going to set up your Shopify. And what I've seen now is like I've built a software from scratch myself using a program called Lovable. Now I'm using Cursor. Cursor allows me to choose different AI models. I'm actually working with Claude. You had mentioned I'm working with Claude 3.7 Sonnet. And I find it to be a very stable, very interesting model to code with. So I feel like you could very easily now launch a product with hopefully the right research if you have access to the right data to make your website. Like with Lovable, I was able to create an e-commerce brand website that was like really nice and custom for what I was doing in 5 minutes. And then it took me like 2 hours to actually make the blog system work and to create a cart system and checkout. And like I had to manually create all of those pages because it doesn't know. But it was really cool that, like the last website I built, I paid $4,000 to some guy. Like I knew him, right? He's got an agency out of South Africa, but it took like a month for us to go through everything and design everything, and then to get every single page. And then I had to hire a developer. And now, for example, AI, you can just one shot a website and then spend a little bit of time to make some tweaks to make the rest of it work.
You could mock the whole thing up top down. We're pushing our Greenlight software out here this summer to do something similar, and all the mock-ups are being used by AI. So we're doing rapid deployment of mock-ups for the entire front end, the funnel, and everything that's going to power the front end of that is being done with AI, which is time compressing, but also moving extremely quickly through the process.
Are you going to create an agent that you can tell it, and then it, like you say, I want to create a website for, so my idea was vegan dog treats. I didn't go through with it. But like I want a vegan dog treat website, and it makes all of the mockups for every page. It knows all of the pages that you're going to want it to have based on a standard. You go, yeah, we're going to need a contact and about, a privacy, terms, cookies. We're going to need a contact and a checkout and a cart. Like, so you have like this list of all the pages, and you go, I need you to create content for all these things. This is the color scheme I want you to use, right? Like, and then the AI just goes and creates all the mockups and makes it all work and fills in all the content.
Ours is going to do something similar to that, but on the listing creation side for, say, Amazon's platform. For that side, it is literally down to which product and customer need is the AI engine telling us. We're using Amazon's actual data that we now have access to tell me exactly what customer needs and customer intent needs are being driven by Amazon 700 billion a year. And I have that data now, and we have agents that are using that data to go in and top down find out where it is, which product it is, where it lives in the system, and how the AI is actually seeing it. So then we can take that data, feed it to more AI agents and tools They write the copy, create the images, and then we can build a product around that, get it manufactured and sourced, and then test launch it in the system and do it in less than 12 weeks.
Do you have an agent that can source and negotiate with the factories too, or no?
I don't have one of those yet because there's so many human calculated interactions. It's not a very straightforward process, so it still requires human oversight. But we have AI agents running on just about everything else that you can do to negotiate, PPC management and machine to machine competition of the cost per click, the budgeting, the keywords, and tracking. That's done by PPC AI agent management now. The listing is written by an AI agent to natural humanized language that is very indistinguishable. We even have poll simulations for the images, the copy, the listings themselves, where we can take simulated polls that have been built through agents that then basically act like a virtual audience of thousands to tens of thousands of people, and then come back and tell us what they think about the product, which one they like, which variation they like, which image they would choose, which title they would choose. And then we build the listing based off of those agents' output. And they are extremely accurate. We used to take them to personal focus groups and websites that would have real people do that for us and pay for that service. But then we decided to feed it all our information, build agents instead, and now we use those.
I heard that, I can't remember who it was. Somebody predicted and/or is betting money that the first billion-dollar company run by a single person with some AI agents is going to be in the next 2 years.
I've seen companies that are running at 8 figures with a single person and 3 people. So why not a billion? It's just a matter of time. It's a matter of process and the amount of reaching the right amount of people. With mass marketing in the machine of the internet, it's not impossible to reach billions of people who could pay you $1 or more, or hundreds of million people who pay you $10 to $20 for your product. It's actually not impossible. The system and economics are already there. It's the mechanisms that are being played with in terms of how those act, and that's just a strategy that is now being deployed through the tactics of AI. But it's not new, and AI is not new. I know some people think it's new, but I was working on it 20 years ago at IBM when we were building latent semantic engines and knowledge management engines on human machine language learning that were programming the first large language models. And we were spending some time on the Watson Superblue computer doing it in Armonk, New York. And we were having 40% accuracy rates from inbound calls on customer service lines, telling people with 40% accuracy why they called. So this is going on for a long time. What we're just seeing now is tip of the iceberg from AI.
If it's possible to make massive amounts of money by having, like you were saying, a small team and agents and all of that, and the fact that there's so many people that want to start e-commerce brands, I mean, there's got to be at least 1 million gurus globally that are selling e-commerce stuff to people to start e-commerce brands. Why not make your AI available to the masses for $1, $2 a month, $5 a month, $10 a month, and make billions of dollars just selling access to these models, to these agents?
You absolutely could, and I would challenge anybody who wants that in life, which also comes with the people and the challenges and the stuff that goes behind it. If that's what they want to do in life, more power to them. But I prefer to have come past that part in my life and realize that the opportunity, the quality of life, the way we run our business, how I partner with other people versus having, like you and I were discussing earlier, 40 employees, and all the heartache and pain and challenges and situations that come with that. I got to 12 employees and realized I didn't want 4 times that many. I wanted less. I wanted to do it a different way. And not, that's, everybody has different goals and desires. For us, we just didn't feel that. We wanted to create our own brands. We wanted to optimize each brand through processes and technology so that we didn't need, that many people. And we're now down 9 brands deep. So at some point we're going to continue to replicate a process until we're like, well, that's, I don't have any fun in this anymore. I have too much stress. I have too many people. I don't get to enjoy my life or spend time with my daughters. So it's just, again, it's down to individual goals. Somebody else might want to go do that. I think that the difference for me is understanding that, yeah, you could build a course and you can go do those things. And we could have done that a while ago, but I had more fun with the business. I have more fun building the companies. I have more fun seeing them mature and seeing people, become happy with the products and want more of them as we create different variations and brands. And I see the opportunity as we've moved now into the investment side and the, equity plays we have with companies we're acquiring, that through acquisition, we can take some of that opportunity too, but still control it in such a way where it doesn't overtake our lives. And that's one of the benefits of using tools in AI, I believe, is that you can have a force multiplier of your efforts or the efforts of a single operator. Instead of having 10 people behind it, I have one operator that can run an entire company with 5 systems. And with that, I can have one operator run 3 of those companies comfortably without spending 80 hours a week doing it. Because those systems of automation and stuff are in place, again, the phrase work smarter, not harder comes into play. I think the first person capable of reaching 1 billion is going to work really hard to do it. And that's okay. And that might be somebody's drive. It's just no longer my drive. I went past that curve somewhere in my history and realized it was more fun to do the business than to try to convince other people they need to do the business, right? And then make money off of them because I tried to convince them to do that. So I'm more interested in building the businesses and working with those who actually want to do it, see the intrinsic value. And then because I'm a buyer of businesses, I want to put myself in a position later on to be in an acquisition with them. And that's that's how I've chosen to do it, which isn't going to make me the first person to be, an independent person building $1 billion company in that way. But more power to the person who will, because it's going to come.
Hey, just give me 10 seconds of your time. I really appreciate you listening to the episode so far, and I hope you're loving it. And if you are, I would love to ask you to subscribe to the channel, because what we do is a lot of work, and every week we bring you a new guest and a new story, and what we do requires so much love so that we can bring you something amazing. And every week we're trying really hard to get better guests that have better stories and improve our ability to tell their stories. So your subscription lets the algorithm know that what we're doing is fantastic. And no commitment, it's free to do. And if you don't like what we're doing later on, you can always unsubscribe. And either way, we would love a like if you don't feel like subscribing at this time. Thank you very much, and we'll take you back. I like that you said that, because there's a lot of people who think that these guru guys that are saying, oh, I've made millions of dollars doing this thing and I'm going to teach you how to do it. They've actually made their money from selling you how to do it rather than doing it themselves.
They have truth and integrity and they really are helping people. Again, more power to them. But more often than not, this is where the challenge comes. When the money comes for that, selling $10,000, $3,000 courses a month, it's pretty hard to churn it down and you want to do it more. Greed and factors play into that more so than helping the individual people do that. The way I'm set up to help people is in a mentorship. If they want to work 12 months with us, it's a one-on-one, but it's a high fee, and they have to be serious about actually building something that becomes a saleable asset, which is part of my goals, which I don't do with everybody. I might do it with 3-4 people a month if I find them. And some months I'll go 2 or 3 months and don't find anybody that's worth qualifying for. And I prefer that because I'm already running my own businesses. I've already got my own brands. We're already very, busy with our businesses and product partnerships. And, as we're acquiring companies, I'm very busy with that too. So here very soon, that component of the mentoring is actually disappearing. And we're going to be, primarily leading with software and service platforms and training for those things while we stay busy with our own brands.
Yeah, I think software is a great way forward. I had a tech company before that I let go almost 3 years ago, and I never thought I would be involved in software again. And because of AI, I now find myself back in a position where I can actually build, and I find myself unable to tear myself away from the computer. I can just sit with the AI for hours going, all right, what should we do next? And so, okay, based on what we've just done, we should probably standardize our error handling. All right, well, let's do that.
Yeah, you're passionate about the data. I get it. And we're going back into software too, which I sold my software company like 3 years ago and didn't figure out we would be back. We had an internal team. We were running it for ourselves. We have developed it only behind our NDA. And then the realization is that we could, this is a mass marketing tool to help people understand, exactly what to sell. And as I play with my own tool more and we see the way that it's pulling the data, and I have 99.999% trust in the data because it was given to me by Amazon. So I know that what they're telling me is actual data on these products. With that, I have a lot of fun playing around in this tool that we built because I'm going in there all the time looking for new product ideas. And we're constantly sending them over to the team. You're like, well, what about this one? That's a great one. Why? Because it sells 30,000 units a year on average. There's only 17 competitors. There's a good chance we can tap into that market as long as our profitability metrics match up with our buy box, what we call our green light process. Then cool, let's go see if we can test it out. Let's grab 100 units and go play with it. If 100 units sell well, let's go grab 1,000. So there is a lot of fun just playing with the things you can build and geeking out on it. And now that we have that, I'm like, well, we could give this out to everybody else. So let's launch the software. So that's one of the things we're changing this year, is to let everybody else go geek out. Because once you see the data and fun, you're going to be like, huh, I suppose I could actually do this. And when you have the data tools behind it, you're like, great. And then I just have this write the copy, and then I have those images created here, and then I test it in the market and find out if it sells. Okay, let's see what happens.
It's like one click spin up a full team.
It literally is a multi-team platform that, I don't have to know every aspect yet of the tactical components. But if I understand I have an e-commerce business opportunity, and maybe I'm going to incubate my first channel on Amazon and find out if I can capture the demand in the market with 49% market share, there's a good chance there's a lot of demand you might capture. And then I can take that into multiple sales channels later on, and I can make a holistic e-commerce company. And when I do that, if I've put some time, energy, attention and money into it for 4 to 5 years, I have an asset, a saleable asset. It's a win, right? I'm not just flipping products for profit and side hustling my way into a few thousand a month. If you do this right, 10, 20, 30,000 more a month is realistic with an e-commerce business. And somebody else wants to buy it from you too. That's the big part. You're building something that someone else wants to buy.
Yeah, I've come across multiple people that will help you to sell, or they have, you know, the, there's a PE firm I met that's actively buying SaaS focused on e-commerce brands. Um, so yeah, there's a lot of people.
We're looking for multi-channel companies ourselves, so they have to have at least 3 to 4 legs of revenue within the business platform or otherwise, and they have to have at least 5-10 million in revenues, and be at least 5 years old for our buy box. And we have a PE group that we built as well that we're acquiring now under it's a Patriot Growth Capital. They are veteran backed, veteran funded, veteran supported. As we acquire the companies, we'll be hiring veterans. So it's actually kind of more of a mission as a business, if you will, to employ those veterans and give them opportunities. Those who become proficient, get their 10,000 hours of training in 5 years, they have an opportunity to acquire the company. So we have an actual mission behind our support of our products and business acquisitions.
I remember hearing about that and I thought that was cool. It reminds me of this business in Ho Chi Minh City that is like a fine dining in the dark.
Okay. Fine dining in the dark.
What they do is they have these like high quality, upscale, really fine dining meals, and the whole like dining room is completely pitch black, and all of the servers are blind people. And you enter the room, they make you take away your phone and anything that makes noise or lights up, and you put your hands on your server's shoulders, and they take you upstairs into the dining room. There's not a single light, no, there's nothing. You can't see anything. There's no way to see anything. You can't see your food, anything. Then you have to completely rely on your other senses for the meal.
That's clever. So you get a chance to focus on the sensory of taste versus just what you see in the. Of course, then you wouldn't know what you're necessarily eating. So that could also be a problem too, I suppose. I thought this was squid. What is this?
So they have three menus. One's a vegetarian menu, one's like a Western menu, and one's an Asian menu.
Right. Okay.
And so you don't know what you're getting, but afterwards, when you go downstairs, they will ask you like, "What did you think was?" Because so basically they have multiple courses, and each course it's like a plate that has little cups, and so you get maybe 4 to 6, and it's inside of the cup, and so you can just like drink it if it's like a little soup, or if it's more solid, you can you've got a fork or something, you could just pick it out, but you can't see it. But they say, okay, your plate's here, your glass is here. They put your hand where everything is, so you know where you are, and
That's very cool.
I find it really fascinating, and every time, so I was living there for 4.5 years, so whenever someone came to visit, I made sure I had to take them so that they could have this experience, because it really allows you to appreciate what some people experience every day. And so it gives these servers an opportunity to do something that's meaningful and interesting for them, valuable for the business, and they can earn a wage. They can live off of the money that they're earning, so they can add value to society. And they have another floor where it's everything is lit, so it's a normal room, but the servers are deaf mute. So the menu teaches you how to sign the dish that you want to order.
Very cool experiences. Little innovative twists on the restaurant experience. That's very cool.
So I love when there's a mission behind what you're doing, when you can help people. There's people that will like only hire, mothers. right? You had a kid, yeah, I'll hire you because I know what it's like. So I knew a woman who was a mother, and she hired a lot of the people that were working with her were mothers, and she had a really great business because everybody understood what everyone else was going through.
Yeah, they had their own mission. That's right. That's very good.
Were you in the military yourself? Is that why you're involved in it?
I did not have the honor to serve. No, my father was. He was a two-tour Vietnam vet in the Navy. It's been in our family. I had planned to go to the military, but wasn't in the cards for me. I bounced out of the Air Force when the F-15E cockpit is what they were training on, and they put us in there and put the helmet on, and it wouldn't close. I'm too tall, so we couldn't close the cockpit. That was the end of that dream. So I went off to college instead.
How tall are you?
I'm 6'4.5", but the height I have is in my upper waist. So while I could fit in the cockpit, they couldn't close the canopy because all my height's from my waist up. So the helmet and everything on top, they couldn't literally close the canopy. Actually, I had one other experience. I met a podcaster here a year ago. And in my 49 years, I've never heard another person with a similar story. His was same. He went to go to the Air Force and they bounced him because his legs were too long. So he had the opposite problem is he couldn't fit in the dash because his legs were too long. He was my size, but then, they could close it for him, but his knees were too far. So they're like, sorry, you're out.
I'm colorblind, so I would never be able to do anything.
Well, that would be another problem. Yeah. Flying the plane with your head at an angle, that's also not recommended. So I ended up going to college, which was a failback plan. I didn't want to be in college. I was actually going to I wanted to go fast. I wanted to be a fighter pilot. That's all I planned to do. So I had never applied to go in my last semester of my senior year. I was fumbling around for scholarships and stuff to just get to school. I had a music history. Since I've been the fourth grade, I was playing trumpet, jazz, classical, that kind of stuff. So I applied for a bunch of music scholarships to see if I could get it anywhere. And a work study plus a scholarship led me to a little liberal arts college out in Iowa, where I got mostly school paid for. And so I hung out there for 3 years. That was my fallback plan. And then the internet came online, and that was into that. Because once the internet came, I was like, what am I doing here? I don't want to be here. They can't teach me anything. It's like we're setting up the first computers in the science lab, and it was quite a wild time as email and then Windows 95 came online and everything was changing dramatically fast. And I was like, I want to be a part of this. And they're like, well, we don't have anything. So most of my friends went into the tech side. They went into the systems and hardware and, Microsoft certifications and other things you could get to actually have any kind of skill set. And then very quickly the business kicked up, of course, to using the business side of the internet. And that's where I wanted to go. But I couldn't do it in college. So I jumped out and started programming for a living for a while as a contractor until the world caught up a little bit. And then the first startup I got involved in was Sprint PCS and the mobile division when they were launching the mobile phone.
I've spoken to a number of people that have been through the 2001 bubble, and everyone's stories are fascinating.
Well, it was a very, crazy time because so much money was flying with so much opportunity that people were just making dumb decisions, and I often look back and go, well, it was a blessing to me. It wasn't necessarily the smartest decision for, them to hire me in as a manager when I was 19. And then by the time I'm 21, I'm managing like 5 people who were 20 years my age. So I was figuring out how to manage people on the fly. So that was fascinating. But quickly figured out that it's who that gets you in, and it's what that keeps you there. So I would stay up till like 1 and 2 in the morning figuring it out, and then I'd go do the job the next day. And I just kept doing that. I felt like it was a little bit of fake it till you could make it, but I was quickly learning things that no one else was willing to learn and putting in the time to learn it, so that I could figure out what to do next. And it turned into a great opportunity. And eventually we had a very successful growth at that business. And we launched the first, knowledge management powered system in a corporate enterprise within Sprint, kind of set the industry standard for creating and organizing knowledge, which became the basis of today's AI systems. And then IBM came up to a project there and said, hey, you're doing a great job. Why don't you come work for us? So I got hired out of Sprint by IBM.
What's the most important thing you've learned so far in your life?
The most important thing I've learned in my life is even if you are acting imperfectly, even if you look to some people like you're being foolish, and even if you look to others that you might be crazy for doing things that don't seem rational, as long as your purpose is true and you're continuing to do it for the right reasons, you will eventually win if tenacity and perseverance continues forward. And when you fail, learn what you failed from and keep going. As the book says, fail forward, right? I say fail up, don't fail out. And I've just learned to not take no for an answer. I guess in all that summary, it comes down to everything for me as a K and OW until it's a hell no. And even then, there's still ways to work it out.